2025 is here and it will be another golden age year for strategy games, and it is time to look at some of my top 5 favorite strategy games, city building and management games coming out this year, and I hope that you will also look forward to those games. Before we do this, though, two things I have to mention very quickly. Keep in mind that all the games I'm mentioning here are supposed to come out in 2025, but you know the gaming industry, things can change. Second, even though I only choose 5 games, there are so many more amazing strategy games coming out, so many more strategy games I want to check out here on the channel. So it will be much more than just those top 5 games, but nonetheless, I thought those games need special mention because you should look out for those games when they are coming out. And the first one we are immediately jumping into is coming to no surprise. That is Civilization 7. Now I know that Civilization 7 will be the most divisive Civ game of all time because they have changed so much. You are now choosing different nations when you are going through the era. You are now building like your big cities and you have a city limit on how you're moving, and using your military will also be very different. So all in all, Civ has so many big and small changes that some people could even say that Civ 7 is a remake of how we have played Civ over the years. And I know already that some people will not like that and some people will love it. I want to play the game. I want to see how it feels, how it plays, and then I will just decide for myself if I will really love this game or not. But so far, everything I've seen looks really interesting for me because I love change. I love new ideas they are trying out. So for me, Civ 7 is really a game I cannot wait to play. The game is coming out on February 9th or 6th. If you are paying $90 for the game, you can actually play it 3 days earlier, as I like to call it. Also, quick note, the game is unfortunately coming with de novo copyright protection. Number 2, a very different game because, well, that's not turn-based, is The Farthest Frontier. This game is developed by the people who made Grim Dawn. Yeah, that Grim Dawn, the action RPG. And they wanted to do something else, and they started to create a city builder very close to what you would see in the Anno series. But what they are also changing here is that you can basically build your own castles, your own walls, you have to defend your city, and it is also a little bit more like a survival game. So the people who are living in your city are not just resources like in Anno you can then use to build better buildings and all that. You also have to do that here, but on top of that, those people have their own life. They are born, they can die, or, well, they can die in accidents, let's call it that, right? And so you have to look out for them, you have to take care of them. There's also a random event component, a little bit like RimWorld in this game, where you can have positive events or you can have very negative events, and you have to act on them. And the game is or was supposed to come out by the end of last year, but they needed some extra time. They didn't also wanted to release the game in February because we have so many bangers already coming out that they said, okay, we would do it after February. So the game is supposed to come out between March and April in 1.0. But if you want to play the game right now, you can, because the game has been in early access for about 2 years now, and they added tons of new content, improvements, and so on and so forth. I've played the game when it first came out in early access. It's really fun because it scratches this Anno itch, and we don't really have any new information on the Anno game, so I can just I take what I can get right now. And again, this game has been already really fun, and I cannot wait for 1.0. Now, the third game is a game I wasn't expected to see ever again. And more importantly, I wasn't really sure, even if I would see a new game in this series, I ever want to play it again. And yes, I'm playing of Heroes. I'm talking about Heroes of Might and Magic, the Olden Era. yes, we are getting a new home game. And when I saw the trailer, I was like, wait a minute. Wait. Did somebody understood the assignment? What is going on here? This is exactly of what I wanted to see. And the deeper you are looking into the game, you really realize that the developers behind this game want this to be a new Heroes of Might and Magic with 2.5D graphics, with a lot of the old gameplay style, with the old looks, and so on and so forth. And you just think, wow, this is exactly what all the Heroes fans wanted for decades. And it seems like we are finally getting it. Now, of course, I haven't played this game, and the game is not out yet. It's coming out in the first quarter of this year, at least in early access. But from everything we have seen, this developer cares. There was even one example where people said, "Oh, yeah, your 2D cities, they look really nice, but man, would we love to have 3D cities back." And you know what? They just announced a few weeks ago and showed us the 3D cities, which are now in the game. And it looks fantastic, right? It's this is this how this is supposed to feel? Like a developer who is actually caring for its IP and all that? What's going on here? So yes, I'm really looking forward to jump into Olden Era, and I cannot wait when this game is finally going into early access. Number 4. Now this is a game we actually have a lot of information about, and that is Two Point Museum. And as you have guessed, this is a new addition to the 2 Point series, but this time you are taking care of a museum. Well, to be a little bit more precise, you are taking care of multiple museums. Like you will have your standard museums with artifacts, bones, and fossil stuff people found around the world, right? People are visiting. So, what you would expect when you are going in a museum in our world. But then there will also be museums which are focusing more on the occult stuff, more on the fantasy stuff. Or there will be a museum which is focusing more on the aquatic side of things, aka an aquarium, but with also fantasy elements. So, the game is trying to mix actual things again with fantasy, and it seems like they are really nailing it. But what is also very important to me is that this time it seems like the gameplay will be quite different. If you're looking at Two Point Hospital and Two Point Campus, they were basically the same games, right? People were coming to you because they needed help with health or with their education. You had to provide the right rooms to fix those needs, and when they were done, they would leave. And that was the whole thing you were doing in both of those games, and this is why they were so similar. But this time, it seems like they are really trying to implement completely new gameplay where the people are coming to your museums because they want to see things, but you have to get all the artifacts around the world by asking nicely, I assume, and then put them into your museum, and this is how you make money. Like it seems like this time there's a much bigger management component to the game, which is just not focusing on a person is coming to you and needs help, right? So I'm looking forward to that. The game is coming out in February on the 27th, if I'm not completely wrong. And yes, unfortunately, this game will also have the Nouveau. And that leads us to the last game on this list, and that is Tavern Keeper. Now, quick note, I'm a partner content creator for Tavern Keeper, but that also means I was already able to play this game and can give you a deeper look into what to expect from this game. Now, if you don't know, the developers of Tavern Keeper are also the developers of Game Dev Tycoon. Yeah, that Game Dev Tycoon, which came out over a decade ago. And if you have been wondering what the devs were doing in the meantime, well, they started to create this game. And your goal is that you are taking over multiple taverns in a fantasy setting, and you have to take care of the people who come into your tavern, which are all fantasy beings, and the people who are also working in your tavern are also fantasy beings, and they all have their own needs, their quirks, and yes, issues. But there are two things which really made this game amazing for me. First is that they give you the tools to create basically your own items you can then put into your tavern. Basically, The Sims, but on a higher level. And that is really just amazing when you think about it. You can create your own items from scraps, and you can even share those items with other people around the world, which should probably interest a lot of people. The second part, and this is something much bigger for me, is the interaction of the people who are working at your tavern and the people who are coming into your tavern, because as I said, they have all their own thing going for them. So let me just give you an example here. At the beginning of the game, you can hire an undead skeleton to work at your tavern, and the cool thing about them is they don't need sleep, they don't need rest, they don't need food, they're just working 24/7. Problem is, they're an undead skeleton. So when people are coming into your tavern and they see this undead skeleton, they're going like, whoa, wrong establishment. Sorry, I'm going. Bye. And that's not really what you want. So you have to work around that. You have to find people who are maybe not too afraid of those skeletons, right? Or you have to let them work the night shift where more questionable people coming in who don't care, and so on and so forth. So this game really has like a lot of love and interactivity between the characters going, and I cannot wait to play more of the game. We don't have a release date yet besides of this year, and unfortunately, quick note, the game will also have Denuvo. A lot of Denuvo games on this list, man, just realizing this. But I'm still looking forward to the game because I've already played it and it's pretty fantastic. I think the demo is also still available on Steam, if I'm not wrong. So if you want to check it out yourself, you can do so. With that said, I'm done with the list. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful. If you still have some games you are looking forward to, let me know down below in the comments because, man, I cannot wait to check out more strategy games. I am so happy that we are finally back in the golden age of strategy games, and we don't have to sit here every year and think, man, is there any strategy game coming out this year? This sucks. Right, we are finally done with that, and I cannot wait to play more strategy games and also create more content for you. So, onwards into 2025. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, and see you next time. Bye bye.